Oh, why you wearing the same shirt, B-Dog? Fuck you. I gotta do this shit, bro. Griffith, one of the most heinous fictional characters ever created in our timeline, from Berserk, the best piece of fiction behind One Piece, the unfuckwittable, is right. Yep, I said it. He's fucking right. In his own mind, he's right. Hear me out. I do not agree with his actions. I don't support his actions. I don't forgive his actions. To me, Griffith deserves an ending worse than death. Death, for Griffith, is the lightest sentence possible for that monster. Infinite cycles of hell wouldn't even begin to scratch the surface. I want him dead. Brought back to life, quartered, sewn back together, and quartered again. Then, make him live with no sunlight in a torture chamber, listening to KSI's Thick of It on repeat until he dies at the young age of 112. Then, give him whatever the circles of hell are. But times it by 1,000,000 and make it worse. That motherfucker deserves nothing. And if you think for a second that I'm one of the Griffith backers, you've got the wrong guy. Yes, I bought the Griffith apparel from the Black Desert X Berserk limited time event, but that's because all my characters are women. Let's talk about existentialism. I'm not going to explain it to you. Look it up with your Google AI assistant. More specifically, let's look at Plato's Allegory of the Cave, my favorite. Here's a rough translation. Some men are chained up in a cave watching shadows on the cave wall pass by. All they know is the cave. All they've ever known is the cave. The shadows on the cave wall are from things passing by outside. And the shadows aren't shadows to them. They're the real deal. One man gets out of his chains for a day. He's like, I'll be back, y'all. I'm about to go figure this shit out. He leaves. He gets outside. He sees all the wildlife. He's like, what the hell? Right? And he had previously only seen these beings, as a shadow on the wall. So he only got the general silhouette or, makeup of these animals that he's seeing outside. He's like, whoo, he's going crazy. He's like, oh my God. He goes back to the cave to tell his boys, and they don't give a shit about what he has to say. Not about the wildlife, not about the color outside and how it's green and shit, and there was a brown deer. And you might ask yourself, why? Why wouldn't they believe him? Because they can't verify it to be true. All they have ever known is the shadows. That is their truth. So bro who just left is like, yo, I'm telling you, there's more of these shadows, gang. You gotta come see. They tell his ass no. They tell him they gonna Swiss cheese his ass if he ever fucking say that shit again. From their literal point of view, this shit right here, that guy's a fucking liar. I told you it'd be a rough translation. But this goes hand in hand with the philosophical concept that if you die believing your truth, you will forever be right. Because no one ever told you were wrong, you were never enlightened. You've died and mortal words can no longer sway your beliefs. The men who eventually die in the cave, having never seen the outside, are, to us, people who are outside of the cave, wrong. But who's going to tell them that? They're fucking dead. Counter-argument. Griffith knows what he's doing is wrong and just doesn't care. Okay, so then why do it? Is it instinct? Are we going to give him the same exemption as Maroom? Or however you say his fucking name? That guy. You know who I'm talking about. That guy spawned as a villain. He was operating off instinct. Morality does not exist for someone who is days old. Maroom had to be taught these things in order to understand them. And get this, spoilers, even he didn't get it until he fucking died. Griffith is a grown-ass man with a desire so strong that he's willing to sacrifice anything to obtain it. He's not Itachi. Spoilers. That guy knew that for the greater good and longevity of his village and the people that lived there, the Uchiha had to go. And from that point on, every evil thing that he ever did was for the sake of his little brother to become strong enough to defeat him and anyone who would oppose him and his friends. That is what it means to be wrong with purpose. That is not what Griffith is doing. I'd imagine, to Griffith, he cares a whole lot about himself. You can't tell me that somebody who feels sadness, pain, anger, jealousy, does not care or has no perception of morality. Griffith saw Guts getting a little too close to Casca. He said, back up, little bro. She good. You're wronging me. And there it is. To feel like you've been wronged and act as you see fit to right that wrong doesn't display carelessness. In reference to the definition of having morals, it can be stated that Griffith believes that the eclipse is well within acceptable behavior. If he didn't think that, he wouldn't have done it. His way of living can be described as carelessness of the people he has to wrong in order to live the way he wants to live. You can try to say that he doesn't care if he's right or wrong, he's just going to do it anyways. He's doing it because he has a goal and nothing else matters. But both, by definition, would make him immoral. In that sense, we, as a majority, don't agree with his behavior. And he does not care to conform to that, meaning that to him, we are wrong. Well, just because he thinks we're wrong doesn't mean that he thinks he's right. Are you fucking serious? In order to consider us wrong, that means he considers us to be the immoral ones. To deem something unjust and act in defense of your own belief requires one to have a sense of right and wrong. If we were wrong and he was also wrong, then tell me, whose perspective are we viewing it from? And what are we fighting for?
Well, what if he just doesn't get it?
Sure, then that makes him amoral. And if we view him as amoral, operating without understanding of morality, that would make him the same as Maroon. But, and there is a fucking but, we went over this already. Griffith can only be considered amoral if all he did was sacrifice a couple of friends or to become a god or whatever. But if you recall, 7 pages worth of the other thing that he did during the eclipse in retaliation, it's not that he knows he's wrong. What he knows is that he feels wronged. And he's getting it back in blood and semen. Griffith, from his perspective, is right. And if no one is left to oppose him, or he dies believing that the ascension and everything that came with it was necessary and just, or worth it, he will remain right. You know who else is right? Thanos. Want to hear another? Anakin Skywalker. And last but not least, me. I will die on the hill that I am right. I don't care about the deer outside with the fur and the beating heart. I'm staying right here in this cave. That deer you described sounds made up. You are a heretic, and if it weren't for the shackles binding my ankles to the ground, I'd kill you. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Every time you interact with these videos, it delays my inevitable eclipse. Would you kill baby Griffith? Let me know in the comments below. Wacky links in the description. Y'all be easy.